Welcome back, everybody. I pray you all having a blessed day. In today's video, I want to talk about something that has shaped the way that I manage my finances to live out my faith. The 5 financial accounts that I believe every believer needs. For me, these accounts aren't just about organizing money or having a budget. They present 5 ways that I try to live out my life with stewardship. These 5 practical steps help me to align my money with my mission and bring more peace, purpose, and direction to how I handle what God has entrusted to me. So let's jump in. Hi, my name is Prince Chenou. I'm a certified financial planner candidate working in financial planning and private banking. My passion is to help faith-driven professionals and families to align their money with their mission. On this channel, we combine biblical principles, practical wisdom, and modern wealth building to help you build a life of impact and not just impact. So if that speaks to your heart, you're in the right place. So the first account that I rely on is my giving account. I always start here because giving is the foundation of everything else. As a believer, I know that everything that I have ultimately belongs to God. My job isn't to worship, it's to stewardship. And when I start to give, I'm putting that truth into action. My giving account is where I set money aside for generosity, like my tithes, my offerings, the moments where I can be a blessing to somebody else. I used to give whenever I felt like I had it, or when a store touched me, or whenever I had extra money at the end of the month. But once I created a dedicated account just for generosity, everything changed. Giving became a rhythm, not just a reaction. So let me give you a background story. If you didn't know, I was born and raised in Cameroon, Africa. A lot of my family still lives there, and many of them are facing real financial challenges. For a long time, I would just send money home only whenever I felt like I could or whenever I had time. But over time, I realized that generosity isn't something I do whenever it's convenient. It's something that's called to practice consistently. So now I put that into action and I put that within my budget. So every 6 weeks, I send money back home as a way of giving back and supporting family. It might be a little here, a little there, but it's consistent. And that consistency has changed my heart posture. Having a giving account reminds me that money isn't something to cling on to. It's something to channel. When I give, I'm not trying to control the outcome. I'm trying to partner with God's purpose. And that gives me peace. My giving account keeps me grounded. It's not just a financial account, it's a spiritual one as well. And once that foundation of generosity is in place, it naturally leads to the next area of stewardship, praying with wisdom. The second account that I rely on is my emergency fund. This one represents wisdom and preparation. When I set aside 3 to 6 months of expenses, it's not about trusting the money, it's about trusting the margin. It's not about fear, it's about creating space for peace. Earlier on, I thought having a little cushion meant that I was good. I remember saving about $1,000 to $1,500 and calling that my emergency fund. Didn't know where I pulled that number from. Then one day, I had an unexpected expense and half of that money disappeared instantly. That moment was very humbling. It made me realize that emergencies don't wait for you to be ready. And having a true buffer isn't just about covering costs, it's about protecting. Now I prioritize keeping at least 3 to 6 months of expenses saved. And if I feel conservative, I might stretch that even beyond that. Because when something unexpected happens, a car issue, a medical bill, or whatever it may be, I can take a breath now. I don't have to panic or make fear-based financial decisions. That's what stewardship looks like for me. Not just for saving money, but creating stability that allows me to respond with peace instead of pressure. I keep this account separate. It's easy to access if I truly need it, but not easy enough to touch on impulse. And once that foundation is secure, once peace is in place, I can move to the next level of stewardship, multiplying what has been entrusted to me. The third account that I value deeply is my long-term savings account. Think of like 401k, Roth IRA, brokerage account. This is where I think long-term. This is me whenever I'm in retirement or later on in life. In Matthew 25, Jesus talks about the parable of talent. The master entrusts his servants with money. Some invested it and multiplied it. One buried it out of fear. The one who grew it were praised, and the one who hid it wasn't. That story always challenges me because it reminds me that God doesn't call us to hide what he's given. He calls us to grow and multiply it faithfully. Investing to me isn't about greed or chasing trends. It's about being responsible, multiplying resources so that they can serve a greater purpose later. When I first started investing, I'll be honest, I was thinking short term. I wanted a quick return, trying to see if I could double my money in a few months. That was my mindset back then, but I learned quickly that's not investing, that's gambling. The true shift happened whenever I understood that long-term investing truly means long-term. I started setting aside money that I didn't plan to touch for 10, 15, or even 20 years. That change gave me peace. I stopped worrying about what the market did today or tomorrow and instead focused on the bigger picture. Now I remind myself it's not about timing the market, it's about time in the market. Faithful investing requires patience. It's about letting time and consistency do their work. And when fear creeps in, because it always does, I remind myself that I'm not investing for the next quarter. I'm investing for the next generation or the next years. That's what stewardship looks like over decades, not perfection, but perspective. And speaking of perspective, the next account helps me stay ready for what's right in front of me, the opportunities God placed in my path. The fourth account that I keep is what I call my opportunities fund. Most people will label this as a short-term savings, but I call it opportunity fund because it helps me think differently. It reminds me that this isn't just about setting money aside. It's about staying ready for when God opens the door for me. This account covers things that I plan to do within the next few months or to a year, like a house project or traveling or a conference, business ideas, or moments of spontaneous generosity. Having this fund helps me from tapping into my emergency fund or long-term investments. But beyond that, it keeps me available. And I'll be honest, this one actually came from my wife. She's the one who really helped me to understand the power of an opportunities fund. At first, I didn't get it. I thought, why not just use money in your checking account? But once you start setting aside a separate fund for mid-sized expenses, it changed everything. So you're fixing your deck or painting the house or saving for a conference. Those aren't emergencies, but those also are not things that you can just swipe your card and move on from that. Having this account at home gave me margin and flexibility. Now I set aside a small percentage every month and let that build. It's amazing how often that money gets used for something meaningful because life always brings new opportunities. And this account helps me to say yes when they come. It's taught me that stewardship isn't just about managing risks, it's about being ready for opportunity. And as I think about readiness, it actually points me to the next step, thinking beyond today, beyond my lifetime. The fifth and final account is the legacy account. This will represent long-term impact, what I want resources to accomplish beyond my lifetime. Legacy to me isn't just about leaving behind money. It's about leaving behind meaning. Proverbs 13:22 says, a good person leaves an inheritance for his children's children. That verse pushes me to think generatively, not just about financial inheritance, but spiritual and moral inheritance too. When I think about legacy, I think of things like a 529 plan for education or donor advised fund for giving or even a Roth IRA that could be passed down to future generations. Those aren't just tools, they're seeds. These accounts remind me that my financial journey doesn't end with me. It's not about control, it's about continuity. It's about saying, Lord, let what you've given me continue to do the good even whenever I'm gone. Because stewardship doesn't stop when your time does. True stewardship plants seeds that outlives you. Bringing it all together, when I sit back and look at these 5 accounts, my giving account, my emergency fund, my investing account, my opportunities fund, and my legacy account, each one reminds me of a different dimension of stewardship. They help me live generously, prepare wisely, and invest faithfully, respond flexibly, and leave purposely. Together, these form a system that give my money direction. And when my money has direction, my life has peace. At the end of the day, stewardship isn't about perfection. It's about purpose. It's about saying, God, everything I have is yours. Show me how to manage it wisely. When I structure my finances this way, I don't just create order. I create freedom. Freedom to give, freedom to rest, freedom to live with peace and instead of pressure. And what I've learned is this: when I'm faithful with what I have, God is always faithful to multiply it. So if this message encourages you, share it with someone else that's walking that same path. Please like this video, and I pray you all have a blessed day. Thank you.